Most people are born to be the main character. You know the type. The ones who are loud and bright and pull everyone else into their orbit with a gravitational certainty. My brother, James, is one of them. My father, with his booming laugh and big business deals that always seem to close on a handshake, is another. My mother, she was the sun itself, a radiant center around which our whole family happily revolved. And me? I've always been the quiet one holding the camera, making sure everyone is in the frame and smiling. My name is Asa, and for the last 6 months, I've been living in the silent, hollowed-out space my mother left behind, our family home. I'm a freelance archivist, which is a fancy way of saying I get paid to put other people's memories in order. It's fitting, I guess. I'm good at it. I find comfort in the quiet rustle of old paper, in creating a neat, logical story from a lifetime of chaos. My goal, my only real purpose since the funeral, has been to do the same for Mom. To go through every box of letters, every photo album, every loose receipt, and build a perfect museum of her life. It's my duty. If I can just get everything into its proper place, label it, and preserve it behind glass, then maybe the harmony she held in our family won't shatter completely. Maybe I can keep us all safe, just like she did. This house, with its scent of dried lavender and old books, is my sanctuary and my workshop. It's where I can still feel her, in the worn spot on her favorite armchair and the faint chip on her favorite teacup. It's where I can be the good, reliable daughter. The problem is, some memories don't belong in a neat little box. I was 14 when I learned the true weight of a secret. It was a small thing, really. I overheard my dad on the phone in his study, his voice tight with a panic I'd never heard before, talking about a business loan he'd taken out that my mother didn't know about. I didn't understand the details, only the fear. Later, when Mom was worrying about money for a family trip, I tried to reassure her. I said something stupid, something like, "Don't worry, Dad took care of it." The words were barely out of my mouth before I knew I'd made a terrible mistake. The fight that followed wasn't loud or explosive. It was worse. It was a week of suffocating silence, of my father sleeping on the sofa and my mother moving through the house like a ghost. But the real wound came from her eyes. She never raised her voice at me, but she gave me this look of such profound disappointment, of such deep and quiet betrayal that it felt like it had been physically branded onto my soul. In that moment, I swore I would never, ever be the cause of a fracture in our family again. I would be perfect. I would be the pillar, the peacekeeper, the one who could be trusted.
And I was, right up until the end. I held her hand in that cold, white hospital room, the beeping of machines the only sound between us. Her grip was so weak, a bird's bones in my hand, but her eyes were desperate. She pulled me close, her voice a dry, papery rasp against my ear. She made me promise her one last thing. It was a strange, confusing request, a series of tasks that made no sense, but I saw that old fear in her eyes, the fear of being disappointed. So I nodded. I promised. Of course I promised. How could I not? Now I know what she was really asking. Sorting through her things in the attic, I found it. The thing she told me to find, tucked away in a dusty old jewelry box. And I finally understand the choice she has forced me to make. I can either honor the final sacred wish of the mother I adored, the woman I've spent my life trying to please, or I can save my brother from a ruin so complete, so horrifying, he'll never even see it coming. The first ritual, the first cruelty, was almost laughably simple. He must eat alone. That's what the note said, written in my mother's elegant looping script. It felt like a childish prank, not the first step toward damnation. I decided to get it over with. Last night, Dad was working late, and I knew James would be home around 7. Usually, I'd wait for him. It was our thing. We'd order takeout and complain about Dad's work schedule. But last night, I made dinner for 1. I ate at the kitchen counter, my back to the empty dining table. When James came home, his cheerful, "I'm home," echoed in the silent house. I called out from the kitchen, "Hey, I was starving, so I already ate. There are leftovers in the fridge for you." The lie felt like swallowing sand. The hurt confusion in his voice when he said, "Oh, okay," was a physical blow. I didn't turn around. I just listened to the quiet sounds of him pulling out a plate and eating by himself in the cavernous dining room. Each scrape of his fork on the ceramic felt like it was dragging across my own skin. Later, I was washing my face in the bathroom trying to scrub the guilt away. The water was cold and I kept my eyes squeezed shut, not wanting to see the liar in the mirror. When I finally looked up, my reflection wasn't quite right. It was me, yes, but my skin was sallow, the way hers was at the end. My eyes looked sunken, bruised with a weariness that went bone deep. And for just a second, a single horrifying heartbeat, my reflection smiled. It wasn't my smile. It was a tight, satisfied little smirk, thin and bloodless. I stumbled back, knocking a bottle of lotion off the counter. The plastic clattered on the tile, and when I looked back, it was just me again. Just tired, sad Asa. But the image was burned behind my eyes, and a sound, thin as a whisper, seemed to curl into the room right beside my ear. "That's my good girl." It was her voice. Not her warm, laughing voice, but the dry, papery rasp from the hospital bed. And it sounded proud. I didn't sleep. How could I? I told myself it was grief, stress, a mind playing tricks. I spent the morning trying to be normal, texting James stupid memes and promising to make his favorite dinner tonight to make up for yesterday. Denial is a warm, heavy blanket. I decided the only way to stop this was to get rid of the source, the jewelry box, the notes. I had to burn it, bury it, send it back to whatever hell it came from. My hands were shaking as I climbed the ladder to the attic. The air up there was thick with the smell of dust and time. I found the box right where I left it. I was going to take it downstairs, but I made the mistake of opening it one more time. Inside, resting on the velvet lining, was a new piece of paper that hadn't been there before. The house was silent, but as I stared at the note, the room grew cold. The smell of dust was replaced by the sharp, sterile scent of antiseptic. The memory of the hospital room wasn't just in my head anymore, it was in my lungs. I looked down, and the new note, written in that same frail, spidery script from her last days, had a single instruction. tell his secret. The secret was his name, Sunto. It's what his birth mother called him. My parents named him James, a strong name, a bright name, a name that fit into our family. The note didn't just tell me to reveal that he was adopted, it told me to use his old name, to unmake him, to peel back the layer of love and belonging my parents had so carefully built around him and show him the stranger underneath. For 2 weeks, I fought it. I hid the jewelry box. I filled my days with loud music and mindless tasks, anything to drown out the whisper that followed me from room to room. Promise me, Aza, you promised. The house became a pressure cooker. The air, thick with the August humidity, felt heavy, each breath a struggle. The drone of the cicadas outside was a constant, maddening scream, and in every shadow, I saw her. Not my mother, the son, but the skeletal woman in the hospital bed, her eyes burning with disappointment. The memory of that look was a physical pain, a hook in my gut that she could twist at will. I started misplacing James's things. His favorite hoodie vanished. The watch our mother gave him for his 16th birthday disappeared from his nightstand. Each time he'd look at me, confused and hurt, and I'd just shake my head, the lie a lump in my throat. I was chipping away at him, and every act of petty cruelty felt like I was carving chunks of my own soul. But the whispers would quiet for a while. Today is the 1-year anniversary of her death. Dad decided we should have a small gathering, just us. He said it's what she would have wanted. He has no idea. The final note appeared this morning on my pillow. Burn his past. Make him an orphan again. Tucked inside was a small brass key. It opened the lacquered box in my mother's closet, a box I hadn't touched since I was a child. Inside were the artifacts of a life that wasn't ours. Adoption papers, a photo of a tired-looking young woman holding a baby, and a handful of pictures of a tiny, dark-haired boy named Sunto, my brother. The final ritual was clear: a public burning, a sacrifice on the altar of her memory. I tried to escape. I swear I did. I took the box and walked to the river, the cicadas screaming their judgment. But as I stood on the bridge, my mother's face appeared in my mind. She was right beside me, her hand cold on my arm, her voice a ragged, desperate plea in my ear. Don't disappoint me again, Aza. Please, keep our family pure. My resolution shattered. That old terror of causing her pain was more powerful than any rational thought. I turned and walked home, a loyal daughter carrying out her mother's will.
Dinner is a quiet affair. Dad tells a few stories about Mom, his voice thick with a grief that is still raw. James smiles, a sad, gentle curve of his lips. He looks so much like her when he does that. The thought is a fresh stab of guilt. I could feel the box beside me on the floor, radiating a cold malevolence. I move like a puppet. After we clear the plates, I bring out a small metal basin and place it in the center of the tatami mat. Asa, what are you doing? Dad asks, his brow furrowed. I don't answer. My hands are not my own. They open the lacquered box and pull out the papers, the photos. James gets to his feet. Asa, what is that? Are those baby pictures of me? He reaches for one, a soft, confused smile on his face. Before he can touch it, I pull it back. The word comes out of my mouth, a venomous hiss that doesn't sound like my voice at all. Don't touch them, Sunto. The name hangs in the air, ugly and foreign. James freezes, his hand hovering. The smile vanishes, replaced by a profound Hard stop in confusion. What did you call me? My father stands up now, his chair scraping harshly against the floor. Asa, that's enough. What is the meaning of this? But the dam has broken. The whispers are a roar in my head, a chorus of praise and encouragement. My hands shake as I hold a lighter to the edge of the adoption papers. The corner blackens, curls, and catches flame. Asa, stop! James cries out, his voice cracking. He lunges for the basin, but I shove him back. He stumbles, his eyes wide with hurt and disbelief. Why are you doing this? What did I do? Why do you hate me? His words, so innocent, so broken, are the final key. The guilt I've held back, the love for him I've tried to smother, it all erupts in a single gut-wrenching scream. The truth spills out of me, foul and unstoppable. You did nothing. It was her. She made me promise. I'm sobbing now, dropping the burning papers into the basin. I point a trembling finger at our mother's photograph on the mantel. She hated you. She said you were a cuckoo in the nest, a stranger's blood. She made me promise to cast you out. I grab the photos of him as a baby, his other life, and throw them into the flames. You're not James. You're Sunto. You're not her son. You're not my brother. She made me promise. The silence that follows is absolute. Deeper than any quiet I have ever known. The only sound is the frantic, hungry crackle of the fire and the incessant, indifferent drone of the cicadas outside. James is pale, his face a mask of shattered comprehension. He looks at the fire, then at me, then at Dad, searching for a denial that will never come. My father isn't looking at me. He's staring at the fire, at the ashes of his son's past, and his face is a canvas of slowly dawning horror. He finally raises his eyes to mine, and what I see there is the true face of damnation. It is not anger, it is not sadness, it is revulsion. He is not looking at his daughter. He is looking at a monster. A stranger wearing my skin who has just ripped the heart out of our family and burned it on the floor. In his eyes, I see the reflection of my mother's ugly legacy and the dutiful daughter who became its perfect, horrific instrument. The house is no longer a home. It is a tomb, and I have just sealed us all inside.
It has been 3 months since that night. Or maybe it has been a lifetime. Time doesn't move in a straight line anymore. It circles like a vulture. The house is silent now. The oppressive humidity of summer has given way to the crisp, lonely chill of autumn, but the air inside is still suffocating, thick with things unsaid and wounds that will never heal. The smell of incense and smoke never really left, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I carry the stench of my betrayal with me everywhere I go. Dad is gone. He didn't pack a bag. He just walked out the morning after and never came back. He sends money to my bank account once a month. There are no notes, no calls, just the cold, clinical transaction. It is his final duty, a financial severance package for the creature that used to be his daughter. James, Sunto, he is still here, physically. He lives in his room, and I live in mine. We are ghosts haunting the same hallways. Sometimes I hear him on the phone, his voice low and dead, talking to lawyers. He is searching for the tired-looking woman in the photograph I burned. He is trying to piece together a life from ashes. We haven't spoken a single word to each other. When we pass in the hall, he doesn't look at me. His eyes slide past me as if I am a piece of furniture, a stain on the wall. He doesn't see a sister. He sees the architect of his ruin. The loving brother I knew is dead, and I am the one who killed him. My project is finished. The house is a perfect museum of my mother's life, Every box is labeled, every photo album is in order. I did it. I fulfilled my purpose. I kept the harmony she wanted. It is the sterile, silent harmony of a graveyard. I spent my days in her armchair, the quiet guardian of her memory. The jewelry box sits on the table beside me, empty. Its work is done. There are no more whispers. There is no more pressure. There is only a vast, hollow quiet in my head. The curse didn't need to stay. Why would it? It won. I remember being 14. The sting of my mother's disappointment, a wound so deep I swore I would do anything to avoid it ever again. I built my entire life on that promise, to be the perfect, dutiful daughter, the one who would never cause a rift in our family. My devotion was my greatest strength, the very core of my identity, and she used it. She sharpened it into a weapon and taught me how to wield it against the people I loved most. My deepest fear wasn't being forced into an impossible choice. It was failing her. And so to avoid failing her in death, I orchestrated the complete and utter damnation of my family in life. I kept her final promise. I am a good daughter, her good girl, and I am utterly, eternally alone.
Thank you so much for watching or listening. Like and subscribe for more nightmares. Your support keeps the darkness from consuming this channel, so we can face the next terrifying story together. Don't be left in the dark.